Do you guys remember the hermit guy from Halloween 5? Well, if you're a very big fan of the series, then you'll know that that wasn't the original opening. The original opening of that had a voodoo witch doctor guy. They ended up cutting that, but as a big fan servicey kind of thing, a really big nod to the fans of the franchise, they brought that character back. That wasn't ever even on screen. They brought him back, and he resurrects in the beginning of this movie. He resurrects the escaped mental patient from Halloween Kills. And I wasn't expecting that. And then throughout the course of this movie, that mental patient and Michael Myers fall in love. It was very impressive to see them subvert my expectations like this. And then Michael takes his mask off and discards it because he doesn't need it anymore. And he looks in the mental patient's eyes, and you can see how much they've fallen in love. And right after they share their first tender kiss, Michael says, "Evil dies tonight." And the whole audience stood up and applauded. All right? That's a better movie than what this was. I'm going to try to make this brief. I don't cut my videos. I don't make them brief. I'm going to try to because I don't want to talk about this movie that much. Let me give you the non-spoiler review because you probably want to see that. I don't know who this movie is for. I don't know. Like, part of me wants to say if you liked Halloween Kills, you might like this, but I don't know because I feel like a lot of people that really liked Halloween Kills were not very invested in the series and were people who were not big fans of the franchise. Not that that's a bad thing. I just feel like a lot of people that enjoyed that movie just took it for what it was or don't have much investment into this particular trilogy or Halloween in general. But I don't know. Like, part of me is like, if you don't care about like this trilogy, then I guess you might like this one. But I have a feeling though that you probably liked Halloween Kills because of all the kills, and this movie is like there's nothing like that in here. There's some kills, but it's not like Halloween Kills. So I don't know. If you're a fan of the franchise, I can't see you not being pissed at this. Uh, I thought Halloween Kills was terrible. All right, I thought it was terrible. That movie is a masterpiece compared to this. I knew this movie was going to be bad, but I didn't think it was going to be this bad. It was it was honestly like Halloween Resurrection is better than this movie. All right, I think so. Halloween Resurrection's terrible, but I don't know. Like, at least it's fun. It has a fun haunted house kind of setting, and you get to see people picked off, and there's some crazy bullshit in it. It's better than this movie. That's my non-spoiler review. This movie's terrible. It's shockingly bad. It's very cheap looking. It's amateurish in all respects. It's just an unbelievably amateurish film. It's a very poor movie. I don't think it's for anybody. I don't know what they were fucking thinking, but it's just awful, and it's so poorly done in every aspect. I could make a 5-hour video picking apart every aspect of this movie, and I'd have something bad to say about everything. I honestly can't think of like any good things to say about this. I hate to say that, and I'm shocked that I'm saying that, but it's terrible. That's the non-spoiler review. Let's get into spoilers. Okay. Wow. So Halloween 2018, I thought was pretty damn good. I had issues with it. My biggest issues with that movie was that they were trying to do too many things. They had this angle about like they brought Michael into the real world. They tried to change him from being this unstoppable, Jason Voorhees style killer that he kind of devolved into, and bringing him back to the roots of being just a crazy stalker boogeyman character, which is what makes Michael scary in my opinion. And they didn't do it super well, but I applauded that they tried to do that. They spent too much time with like him at the mental institution with those two reporter characters, and I saw the angle that they were trying to go, but I don't think it was done very well. And the reason I don't think it was done well was because they kind of dropped that and then go over to Laurie, who's suffering from PTSD, and go that angle. And then they also have Allison, her granddaughter, with the typical slasher high school hijinks, and then they also have her daughter, Karen, and it's like it's way too many characters and plot lines to cram into it. But I was like, all right, it was still done pretty well. I'd like to see where they go with it. And then Kills just completely ruined it for me. It really did. Like when I saw Kills, I thought, all right, there's no saving this, right? So I went into this movie with low expectations. I was still disappointed, but Kills at the very least, like I have a higher opinion of that movie now because of this film. Kills at least has good kills. I can't deny that. I mean, there are some dumb kills in it, like the gun with the car one. That's really fucking dumb. But I can't deny it's got great slasher kills. Now, I don't think that's how I don't like Michael portrayed like that. Like I don't like him being this like I don't know, like he's like Kane Hodder steroided like Jason Voorhees in that movie. Like just this like brutal, unstoppable hulking beast. I just don't like Michael portrayed like that. But okay, whatever. And that movie has so many. I've done a review on that. It's just that movie's terrible. Like the writing is horrible, the plot is terrible. That movie to me, I knew that this was supposed to be a two-parter, and then they said they were making a trilogy, which to me was like, okay, so the studio's making you do that, and this is the whole thing's probably going to suck now. And that movie to me felt like the movie that they were like, we don't know what to do, so we just have to come up with something as an in between movie. So they made that. That's how I felt at the time. Having seen Halloween Ends last night, Halloween Ends now feels like the movie where they didn't know what to do. And Kills feels now like it was supposed to be the last movie, like the two-parter finale. And they took maybe like the ending of what was supposed to be the ending of that one and move it over to here maybe, which would still not be a satisfying duology, like no way, because that movie was terrible, but it would be a better package than what we got. My biggest problem with Kills, other than just the overall production value was just bad compared to the first one. But my biggest problem was they set this whole thing up of Michael being a man. And then in Kills, they throw it out the window and make him supernatural. Now they don't explicitly state it in the movie, but they do. I mean, he takes the townspeople just beat the fuck out of him. I mean, they brutally assault him. No one's making it out of that. It just is no. It's not even like suspend your disbelief a little bit because it's a horror movie. It's like if you're going this route that he's not supernatural, then he is now because no one can survive that, and he just gets up and murders everybody. And then they do have some over the top subtext about, maybe like he is supernatural. Like the more he kills, the stronger he gets. I know we're not even talking about ends yet, but to summarize my issues. So I thought, okay, now he's supernatural, so how are they going to deal with it in this movie? And they deal with it by, in some ways, just saying, okay, let's just not talk about that. And in some ways, just going back to the fact that he's a man, but then sometimes going back to that he's supernatural. It's weird. This movie makes it's shocking. Uh, like I don't know. I'm at a loss for words at some point, so stick with me. You don't I don't know if I need to say this. I'm not a filmmaker, but you don't make the third movie in a trilogy about a new character. You don't do that. That's what I was afraid was going to happen, and that's what they did. Like you've already like brought too many things into this mix that it's going to feel like I don't know how you're going to wrap this up in a third movie, but you're going to have to figure out a way to do it. And they just like double down on digging a grave for themselves by introducing a new character who is the main character in this movie. And now we have to deal with this main character and his story for the whole movie, and we have to wrap up the trilogy. It's bizarre. It's bizarre that they went this route. And this trilogy, to me, mirrors the Star Wars sequel trilogy, the Disney one. Like that trilogy, I don't know if you folks like that. I don't. Like, I thought Force Awakens was pretty good. Like, it was mediocre, but it was a fun popcorn flick. It was like the Halloween 4. Like, it just redid everything. It did A New Hope. It was okay. Last Jedi was like batshit insane, terrible. And then Rise of Skywalker is like where they tried to, the movie's terrible. Like, right? That's what this feels like. It really feels like that. It mirrors it in many ways. And it feels like they had no plan for this. And so sometimes when I was watching this film, I feel like this is just a movie that like we were bait and switched. Like this is not really for the fans. This is for a general audience. Like we were bait and switched, if that's the right way to say that. Like there's a lot of marketing about this movie. Like this is the final showdown, the final outing of Jamie Lee Curtis as Laurie Strode, and it just feels like a bait and switch. Like I feel like the studio is like, we're just gonna make the standard shit that we always do, but we'll try to wrap you, you guys that like the series, we'll try to like hook you in with that kind of shit. That's what it felt like to me. But at the same time, I'm like, is it that, or is it just that David Gordon Green sucks? I think it's, I don't know. Like parts of this movie and of Kills, I always was like, this feels like studio intervention. I think it's a combination because like Kills had horrible dialogue. I mean, it was like Kills was like very poorly done. This is even more poorly done, but they take this movie in a completely different route. This movie is like totally out of left field. Like we would have never suspected that this is what they would have done. And they try to explore these different avenues. So it really feels like that was what they were like. Like it feels like they're. It's not just David Gordon Green. Like there's like four fucking writers on this movie. Danny McBride being one of them, but it feels like they're not very good, is what I'm trying to say. Like it feels like they're not that great of a creative team, and it was a combination of too many people that weren't really great at what they were doing, and the studio intervening. And I hate to say this, and I'm gonna catch flack for this, but this is how I feel. I love Jamie Lee Curtis. Like I love her as an actor. I always have, and of course I love her character. But it feels like this was like her in it for the money. It does because like you got 2018. If you want to see Jamie Lee Curtis being a badass and beating the shit out of Michael, that's the movie for you. Because she's awesome in that movie. Like, maybe a little crazy, but that movie was like them, like. We'll get into this. This is going to be a long one. I apologize. It's very rambly. I didn't plan this out. Sorry. Bear with me. Get a snacky snack or something. It feels like that was the movie for that. Kills, she wasn't in that movie, okay? She was in it. She wasn't in the movie. She was in a hospital bed. When I saw that movie, I thought, I think she's like, I think this is all like just to get her some money and like, not like this was all done for her, but like this just doesn't feel like it has a lot of integrity. Because she's barely in the movie in Kills. She's barely in it. She's there for some really bad voiceovers and shit like that. And a few scenes, but like, it just felt like, okay, we're in that one, you're just going to go in a hospital bed. You're only going to have to shoot like a week of scenes or something. And then in this one, she's also barely in it. She's not the main character. She's not even the secondary character. It's Corey, this new dude, who is the main character. Allison, who is the secondary character, who is like a different character in this movie. And then Laurie Strode, who serves like very little purpose. In fact, all of the characters in this movie, I don't know if MacGuffin is the correct term. Maybe it is, like just a plot device to bring things. Every character in this movie is a plot device to just bring the movie forward. And the focus is on Corey as his character. So, like, Allison in this movie has nothing to do other than be the foil for his character. And it's out of place for what they brought her up to be. It's just very weird. In the original movie, the 2018 one, I should say, not the original one, but it felt like Allison, like they were setting her up to be the new Laurie Strode character, like the end girl. And I think Andi Matichak's a pretty decent actress. So I thought that, like, I wouldn't mind seeing her as, like, the new Laurie Strode. But you also have to deal with Laurie Strode and Karen, Judy Greer, in that movie. And then in the second movie, they put Allison really by the sidelines and definitely Laurie. And then it's kind of focusing on Karen. But her character is not very good. And it's like, why do I care about this character? And then they ended up just killing her off. And then in this movie, they, like, barely... It's like this movie just feels like it's not even a Halloween movie. I'm rambling, but like I don't even know how to put my thoughts together about it. Like this movie feels like if Halloween 3, Season of the Witch, that in the intention with that film, Michael's not in it. It's not related to the rest of the franchise, with the exception of a meta joke of showing Halloween in a bar at one point. That movie was intended to be the start of an anthology series of Halloween where they were done with Michael, they ended his story in Halloween 2, and each year, every couple years, they were going to do a new Halloween style movie, a new horror movie, and it was just going to be called Halloween something. That's what this feels like, but they shoehorn these other characters in. And it doesn't even feel like that. It feels almost like a TV show. Like it feels like if they were to take Halloween away from this, it doesn't, other than the fact that there's characters in here from the Halloween franchise, and there's some very slight trying to work things in and trying to wrap it up. Take that away. This feels like if it feels like Scream, the MTV show, or like if they tried to make a TV show, and this feels like the series finale. That's what this feels like. And it feels like all the other stuff, the other 3 movies before this, didn't really matter. Like, it feels like this is just a separate thing. It's not even like a Halloween movie. It's just like the series finale to a TV show that we don't have any context for. That's the best way I could describe the feeling of this movie. Like, we're watching the series finale, but we haven't seen any of the other episodes. It's very fucking weird. And that's why I think that this is some incompetent filmmaking, because you can see in this movie, you always can see what they were trying to do. That's the sad part about it, that you can see what they were trying to do all the time. Nothing in this movie is subtle, and it's often confusing because probably because 4 people wrote this. There's just so many ideas happening in this movie. And it's not just the fact that they went this crazy route and then they needed to wrap things up. It's that this crazy route they went isn't even good. So like if this, like I said, was an anthology movie or this series finale for a TV show, it still wouldn't be good because nothing is done well. Everything is like ham-fisted and just amateurly done, and it doesn't look good, and it's not acted well. The dialogue is poor. And like everything, like the music isn't good, the music choices aren't good, it doesn't look good. There's bad ADR in this. It feels pieced together. It still would be terrible. And the fact that this is the end to a trilogy is horrible. It's shockingly bad. And it's baffling that they allowed them to do this. As much as I hate studio intervention, it just feels like the studio said, for the whole trilogy almost, like, we don't care what you do whatever you want, but you have to do this, 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 and this. So figure out where you want to do that. That's up to you, but you have to do these like 5 things. And that's what this all feels like. And they never had a plan, and they are just throwing shit at the wall and seeing if it sticks. And that's the most apparent in this film. And going back to my point about Jamie Lee Curtis, I'm so sorry to say this, like, I love her, and it's like, she's a producer on this movie too. She put her stamp of quality on this. This is fucking horrible. Like, I don't think she really cares about this shit. I don't. She's making that producer credit money from this movie. That's for sure. So, okay, wow, we're like 20 minutes into this. This is a long one. Here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to take an intermission because I have a lot more to say, and we're going on 20 minutes, and this is very long for me. So let's take an intermission. Let's get a drink and a snack, and we're going to come back, and I'm going to go deep into the movie and talk about my qualms with it. And it's very negative. If you've made it this far, and then you're probably okay with me being negative about it. But yeah, let's talk more about it. So let's take a quick intermission. Unusual for me, but this was an unusual film. All right.